r/AskScienceFiction. Jinkaweed says, DC/Marvel, who punches far outside their apparent weight class? Not sure how well I phrase this, but I was sorta inspired by Spider-Man. He mostly deals with street level stuff, but goes toe to toe with absurdly strong characters through his various abilities and skills. I also specifically mean in universe. Like, they usually work at a certain level, but are vastly stronger than people expect. Biter says, The Flash. The dude can change space-time, yet he doesn't use his insane speed most of the time when fighting crime. 11zizarsilly says, Superman would be the obvious contender here. He only weighs 225 pounds. Rorano Pedro says, Wolverine, for all intents and purposes, is an angry midget with knives. He's just so angry he can shiv God in the kidneys. Being the best there is at what he does accounts for every single incredible thing he's ever done. He's gone against a plethora of people who should not have gone down to him, and he basically just keeps coming. Even when his healing factor gets hyped up to shit like in Civil War, which is not how strong it usually is, he'll just keep coming until you physically stop him. The Ardorian says, Reed Richards. Outside his extraordinary intellect, the only thing he has to contend with the likes of Galactus and Doom is being stretchy. And for the most times, he doesn't even use it offensively. Wrongdurian9711 says, I was gonna talk about Spider-Man, because it's true what others have said, he intentionally punches below his weight class, but is totally capable of playing big time. Like when he almost single-handedly took out the Phoenix 5. Outside_UF_946 says, Squirrel Girl hits way above her weight class having fought baddies like Thanos, Galactus, Doctor Doom and many more. Freaky Man Baby says, Doctor Doom is Marvel's Batman in this regard. He's a normal human, genius, who on any given Sunday can stand up to Thanos or Galactus. The Wealthy Capybara says, Nightwing is a better example than Batman is. Nightwing lacks the tech that Batman has, but he still leads a team with people like Superboy and Miss Martian on it. Metal_person_333 says, I'd say the Flash. Dude can travel trough time, kill basically anyone with his infinite mass punch and dodge literally every attack, but still just fights against street level rogues. More of a fault of the writers purposely nerfing him than anything TBF. Tag Jensen says, Black Widow and Hawkeye. They're basically regular people with one skill apiece who fight gods. Two Wrongs says, Harley Quinn. She's been recently ungraded slightly, but prior to that, she's beaten Joker and Batman. Gone toe to toe with Killer Croc, Big Butter. Beaten rooms full of henchmen, police, and parademons. The Lagrangian method says, Mantis would be a good example in the MCU. Put Ego and Thanos to sleep against their will. Outside of situations like this, she's not very useful in a fight. Johnson123 says, Joker has beaten Batman in more than one fight. Where did he get his ability to beat a guy who has had all that training, not to mention superior tech? r/AskScienceFiction. Tottlewink says, Drive. Dolittle, how is Drive? Dolittle able to talk to all the animals? How can Drive? Dolittle talk to all of the different types of animals when they all have various degrees of intelligence? Times Whiskered says, in the Drive. Dolittle canon, all animals are intelligent enough to be self-aware and have personas of their own. The intelligence of each individual or species may vary, but they are all at least that intelligent. Rorano Pedro says, the assumption that all animals are incapable of speech on an intelligence basis is false, as demonstrated by Drive. Dolittle being able to talk to all of them. Science just hasn't realized it yet. Corgi Ross says, humans have various degrees of intelligence and you can talk to them. r/AskScienceFiction. Intergalactic Spirit says, what is the name of the sci-fi fantasy genre that existed in the 1900s? You guys know the one, the super weird stuff, where humans were on fantastical worlds running around often as techno-barbarians. Where protagonists would use swords, but they had flying ships. Where it was questionable if there was magic, or if it was simply Clark-tech. Where you could see semi-technological advanced beings living in the ruins of a long-vanished ancient race that was far more advanced than the world we see our story take place. I assume the genre has a unique name, but I've never been able to find it. Horn_Python says, steampunk. Poorly Drawn Beagle says, you mean like John Carter? Usually just planetary romance. Library Lass says, this is outside our normal scope, but in the spirit of the subreddit, so I'm allowing it. And the genre you're looking for is most often called planetary romance or sword and planet. r/AskScienceFiction. Akuro Ishimoto says, Pokemon in the games, there is always a Game Freak building, which holds the developers and designers and everything. Does this mean everyone knows theyre in a video game? Renmorzo says, in that universe Game Freak just does something else. It's like how the Terminator movies are real in Last Action Hero, but they feature Sylvester Stallone instead of Arnold Schwarzenegger. Rorano Pedro says, they are not in a video game. The events in Pokemon are real to that world. If anything, Game Freak is just the people who made the Pokédex app and all bells and whistles associated with it, which is why they give you the Pokédex completion certificate, and thank you for using it. They are just like game designers on the side. Our Devil Fruit Ideas mod says, from the player character perspective, these are just normal game devs, and not a meta reference. Meaning they've made a game, and are telling them about it, not saying they are literally in a game. r/AskScienceFiction. Zewanzaraj says, Star Wars, why is it called the Intergalactic Banking Clan? Do they do business with another galaxy? Break_Flyer says, well, international companies also not having business with all possible countries, so I don't think there is a need to elaborate. I_hope_I_die_soon says, it's just an impressive sounding name. They aren't really a clan either. Poorly Drawn Beagle says, presumably they are counting satellite galaxies as separate galaxies. It's like calling your business Beagle Drawings International because you managed to do, like, one job in Cuba that one time. A Parceloth V8 says, the Star Wars galaxy have several small companion galaxies. It was used to explain why Luke and co. was looking at a galaxy at the end of Ep 5 as well. I believe Kamino resides in one of them. If the IGBC do business with any entity in those galaxies, then they are intergalactic. r/AskScienceFiction. Few Objective 6526 says, MCUY neutron star inside Nidavellir seems to not have gravity despite being probably thousands of times heavier than Earth. Cheo's Music says, the rings and platform around the star probably have a mechanism that counters the effect of the neutron star's gravity and allow the dwarves to use it as a forge safety. It's thousands of years old and built by the dwarves, Asgard and probably some other advanced civilizations cooperating. Considering some of the things Asgard has that breaks conventional physics, like the Bifrost, this doesn't seem that much of a stretch. Mr. Crash says, he manages to push multi-million-ton metal rings in orbit around it, despite having no leverage and nothing to push against. Shrug. Comic physics. Super weird how often this gets used as a feat, when it clearly doesn't have any of the physics of a real neutron star. Richard MHP says, it does have gravity. It's just that the gravity countering effects of dwarven magic/technology are able to deal with it. Poorly Drawn Beagle says, It's ruled by magic dwarves to make hammers that summon lightning and boats that fly on nebulae. For space Vikings, I don't know exactly how they did it, but I have no trouble believing they can do it. That's all for this video. Was it good? I know not, for I'm a robot. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe. This video is the product of an automated process.